Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect of the true nation of Israel, Yasharallah. Quick lesson, man, on the topic of, what sparked this topic, which is the topic of this lesson is, this truth, man, all right, gives us men, all right, peace, true peace, man, all right, we have true peace of mind, all right, being in this truth, all right, because being in this world, all right, there's no peace in this world, okay, all right, there's no peace. Everywhere there's destruction, death, mayhem, all right? Something that leads to death, suffering, affliction in this world, man. Because this is hell that the Bible speaks of, this life, all right? This world that we live in, ruled by the devil himself, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, the nation of Edom, okay, which runs the world. That's why the world is the way it is. That's why it's upside down, okay? We all know about, what's going on over there with those boats, the flotilla, all right, on the way to Israel, Gaza, and what's going on. They're trying to stop the humanitarian aid from touching those people, from getting to Gaza, which is only a devil would do that, man, So yeah, man, but hey, everybody's bugging out. People are tripping out. People don't know what to do. They're like, how can this world, be like this? People are like, man, these people see the end of this wicked ass world coming, nuclear warfare happening. They see it coming. They're like, man, there really ain't no other option other than this world to be nuked. All right, go to World War III. All right, and we know why and how it's gonna happen. But us men of Yahweh Shemiel Shai, we find peace and we know why and how and what's gonna happen. Because we know the truth of the Bible. We know that the Lord's gonna destroy America, turn it into a lake of fire, redeem his righteous men and women, all right, right before that destruction, and put you heathens, all right, in slavery in the kingdom of heaven, all right, and put us Israelites, all right, as leaders and heads and rulers of the new world to come, which is going to be the kingdom of heaven, which shall last forever, and it's going to be ruled in righteousness by the laws and the ways and commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Okay? We know that. We preach that, and we believe in that full-heartedly, man. And knowing that no matter what goes on, what happens from here until then, all right, we find peace. We know that we believe and have faith that that's going to happen, man. Okay? We're not scared of anything. I mean, we may get scared in the flesh, but hey, we're not. Hey, man, we know if we seek the Lord and strive for this truth unto death, that the Lord's going to be on our side and fight for us, man. And we're going to receive a crown of life, all right, which is being crowned by the Lord and being the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven. And us brothers, in this truth, we know exactly what that means and entails, man, because we meditate it, we teach each other and talk to each other about it every day, being in this truth, we have true peace, of mind, okay? Seeing all these wicked and crazy, unimaginable things going on in the earth and continuing on and getting worse and worse. And we're the men that are rejoicing. We're rejoicing in these times of trouble. While the whole world is mourning and suffering and wailing and crying and mourning, and perplexed, and suffering because they don't have the truth, okay? But the topic of this lesson, what sparked this lesson, is I was watching the brothers of Des Moines, Iowa, all right, their Day of Atonement camp live lesson, I was watching it at work, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go on the topic of, this truth, gives us true peace. We find true peace in this truth, man. Because I be mentioning it, but I've never done a lesson on it. So, I was gonna wait to do this lesson later today while I'm by myself at home. But the Spirit just told me to do it while I'm driving, man. Like, do it now. you know, before I get, because I know I'm gonna get tired later, you know. I'm in the spirit right now. Let's do it, you know. So this is Psalms 119, it's 165. It says, great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. Okay, and who are the men, all right, on this earth who are pushing to still keep the laws and commandments of the Lord? All right, it's the men of GMS. All right, we're saying it correctly. See, IUIC, they're saying that you're going to be saved by the law. We're not saying you're going to be saved by the law, but we're saying you have to keep the law to the best of your ability. All right, try to keep it perfect. If you don't keep it perfect, that's why you go to the Son, our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai. But you try your best to keep the laws, man. All right, and if you do that with that correct formula, keep the laws and commandments to the best of your ability with the faith and love and truth of Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai, then you're gonna find true peace. That's it says, great peace have they which love thy law. All right, which basically love the ways of the Lord, man. All right, because the laws are righteous. It's just us men and women, okay, which are unrighteous because we can't keep it perfectly. All right, you know. And how do we keep the law perfectly in this fleshly, third-dimensional, corruptible body? All right? We have to have Yahweh Shai. Okay? We have to have the Son of the Most High, Yahweh Shai, man, while we keep these laws. All right? Because without him, then the scriptures say we shall all fall. We all fall short of the glory of the Lord. All right? We all sin and fall short. All right, because you break one commandment, you break them all. So how do we keep these laws when the Lord tells us to keep these laws? All right, with Yahweh Shai. Okay, that's why we're in the time of grace. We're not in the old covenant, nor are we in the new covenant. We're in the time of grace. Okay, that new covenant comes when the Lord comes during His second coming. Okay, and after. Okay. Okay, so hey, you know, keeping the Lord, keeping the ways of the Lord, all right, with faith in His Son Yahweh Shai, you know, we find peace in this, man. You know, I find peace rehearsing the righteous act of keeping the Day of Atonement. I found peace in doing that, even though I was suffering, my soul was afflicted, and it sucked. I was suffering, but I found peace in doing that, man, because I'm getting closer to the Lord. That was a point where I was able to show my faith and love to the Lord, man. You know, even though the Lord died on the cross, all right, for us, so we don't have to keep the Day of Atonement perfectly. He also said, you know, to rehearse the righteous acts. So, hey, man, you know, the Lord's like, hey, man, it's okay if you don't keep it perfect, you know, but try. You show me your love, you know, by keeping these commandments, you know, by trying to be like me, you know, try to be like me, you know, and here we are, his little brothers, you know, trying to be like him, you know, like Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is the ultimate big brother of ours. He's our big brother. He did it perfectly. He did it, you know, he fulfilled the law. All right, now it's our turn. All right, he knows we're not going to do it perfectly like him, but he wants to see our effort. All right, and our effort by keeping the law, trying to keep the law perfect, even though we're not going to, our effort, you know, is our love. We show our love doing that, man. All right, you know, just as he laid down his life for us, you know, for us brothers in this truth. All right, here we are. It's our turn. We're laying down our life, all right, to show how much we love him for doing what he did for us, you know. That's the truth, man. All right, and knowing that, having the truth in that, all right, which us men of the men of GMS and the affiliates of GMS understand that. Knowing that and having that, all right, we have peace. All right, because the rest of this world, not even all the Hebrew Israelites, not even these Christians and the rest of this world understand that That's why they're perplexed and confused, all right? And they're going to stay like that until their destruction when the Lord returns, all right? So next precept, Isaiah 33:6, it says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure." Okay, and where do we find the wisdom and knowledge of the Lord? All right, the true wisdom and knowledge of the Lord in this truth. All right, this doctrine coming out of GMS. All right, One West through GMS. Okay, they have the true breakdowns of the Bible, of the scriptures. Okay, and us gaining this knowledge every day. All right, getting smarter and building up our spirit in Yahweh Shema Shai every day. All right, and we find peace in that because we know, hey, our knowledge and our wisdom of this truth is going to keep us stable in the worst times imaginable. Jacob's trouble, which shall be the worst times that the world has ever seen or will ever see. Okay, and those times are coming. We're stepping into them, man. Imagine the worst times ever. All right, that ain't nothing compared to what we're going into. All right, and us knowing this truth is going to keep us stable, level-headed. All right, in these crazy times, man. You know, we know us brothers know what's coming. Okay, that's a topic for another lesson. You know, because we go into it every day. You know, mass chaos, mass unalivings, mass, suffering. All right, people getting drafted, to World War III just to be unalived right there on the spot. People dying of sickness, people dying of famine, of no food or water. Nuclear missiles destroying America, turning it into a lake of fire, etc. Your dollar being worth nothing. All right, no food in the storehouses, no nothing, man. All right, just suffering and mass unalivings. That's what we're stepping into. And us knowing this truth, us having this wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Shema Shai is going to keep us level-headed, in peace, perfect peace. And we're in peace knowing that we have this truth. All right, the Lord is telling us, he gave us the playbook. He gave us, we know the future. For real, we know the future, man. All right. And that, knowing that, hey, the Lord showed us He's showing us the future of what's coming. All right. We have peace of mind in that, and all we have to do is serve Yahweh Shema Shai in truth and sincerity to the best of our ability, man. All right. Until he returns. All right. Which is very soon anyway. Which, knowing that's peace of mind, So, man, the best thing in the world is to be in this truth. I tell myself that every day, if not every other day. I wouldn't rather, every time I go out there at camp, I'm like, man, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. I'd rather be out here in the blazing sun, sweating my ass off, getting a funny looking tan line, sitting out here looking funny in front of these people giving me mean looks. I'd rather be out here, man. I don't want to be nowhere else, man. I don't want to be part of this world or nothing, because we know, us brothers in this truth know, if you're part of this world, you're going to be destroyed with this wicked world, because the Lord's coming to purify the world of its wickedness by fire. Just as the Lord purified the world with water, we all know how he did that by the flood. He saved Noah and his family, and that's it. Everybody else on earth died. The Lord's going to do the same thing, but with fire. All right. Flood the earth with fire, man. All right. Not the whole earth, but we know the wickedness of this earth, man. All right. The earth is going to be shaken to and fro like a drunkard. Imagine the whole earth, all right, just shaking like a drunk person, violently, because of how many nuclear missiles are being blown off on earth, all around the earth, man. Those are the times that we're stepping into. And having this truth and striving for the truth until death, you're going to be saved from that, man. Okay? The Lord is going to exempt you from that. And knowing that and believing in that full-heartedly, we have peace of mind in that, man. All right? So I wouldn't rather do anything else other than prophesy. Yes, we can't prophesy 24/7. We have to eat. We have to go to work. We need some leisure time to just breathe, the scriptures say, be in the world, but not of the world. You know, so hey, you know, we got to do these worldly things too. Be fathers, be brothers, be husbands, be sons. You know, be employee, co-workers. You know, but hey, we're mainly prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushai at the end of the day. Okay, I'm gonna make a part 2. I'm at my location, my location, my destination. I'm gonna, Lord willing, make